Hello, Hannah. Glad you made a video last week. I particularly liked the end of it with your beautiful singing. And so my birthday was good, and do you remember that time I met John Green? Because I do. I went to the Beckoning of Lovely on my birthday, and that was a good choice. My reasons for not wanting to go were just so lame. And so recently, since kind of this summer, I've kind of tried to do this thing, actually based off John Green's books. I always read his books, and the characters are so cool, and they do such cool things, and they're so worth writing books about. And I feel like I write books, but I don't necessarily lead a life worth writing books about, and I want to change that. And I think the way to change that is to be willing to take risks. Not stupid risks like, I'm going to go into this creepy alleyway at dark, but, you know, risks that, like, things that aren't necessarily going to turn out great, like going to the Beckoning of Lovely, but then could turn out great, and it did turn out great, and so I'm very glad I went. When I went, I took the 6 bus downtown. It goes from Hyde Park to downtown, and I was sitting at the 6 bus stop, and I didn't know what time it left, and there was this girl next to me, and she was sitting there too. And at one point I was like, "You don't happen to know what time the 6 comes, do you?" And she was like, "No, I think it comes soon." I was like, "Okay, good, because I have to be somewhere at 11:11. And she kind of looked at me and went, "Beckoning of Lovely?" And I was like, "Yes." And so I had a friend. So we went to the Bean downtown, which is an awesome structure, and if you ever come out here to visit me, when you come out here to visit me, we're definitely going to go there, because it's very trippy, and if you stand in it and look up, you're like, reflections. And what was kind of funny was the fact that, like, there was a ton of people sitting down in the middle and, like, looking at Amy Rosenthal, the person who runs it, and then around the edges there were a lot of people standing up. And it was kind of an age divide to some extent. Like, the people in the middle were the teenagers and the kids and the very young adults, and the people around were, like, the parents. And so the people around, for a large extent, didn't really know what was going on. And so I ended up kind of, because I was near the back of, like, the sitting group, I kind of ended up translating. So, like, Amy would be like, "Yeah, so John Green, we're getting this book for Henry." And the people back of me were like, "Oh," and I was like, "His son." And they were like, "Okay." And she was like, "Yeah, and John Green runs a charity, the Foundation to Decrease World Suck, blah, 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 blah." And the people back of me were like, "Wait, what's a charity for?" And I was like, "Decreasing world suck, it's a thing." And so, like, I ended up just sort of translating for people, which I thought was amusing. But yeah, to try to explain what the Beckoning of Lovely is for those that don't know, it's basically a whole bunch of strangers from the internet get together and do awesome things. They try to make things, so, like, make peace, make someone happy, make a grand entrance, etc. And so all these strangers try to make these things together. And so it's a very, very cool idea, and it really focuses on the connections between people. I mean, you know, everyone's saying that in today's world, people are more isolated, and I do believe that to some extent, because we're all into our technology, not necessarily into human connection. But then at the same time, the internet sort of opens up ways for us to make connections with people we wouldn't otherwise. So this was kind of that idea. And at one point, they did Make-A-Wish, and so, you know, everyone made a wish, but they specifically had the people whose birthdays it was come up. And so I got to go up, and they gave us cupcakes, and it was such a good cupcake. Oh my god. But everyone sang happy birthday to us, so basically hundreds of people sang happy birthday to me, which is kind of crazy. And then afterwards, people just kept saying happy birthday, and I was like, "I don't know you, but thank you." Also, John Green did a little thing. I mean, basically they were giving him something. He didn't, like he had said on Twitter, like, it wasn't about him, it was about the Beckoning of Lovely, and he was just there, which was good, because he's right, it was about the Beckoning of Lovely. But that didn't mean I didn't want to meet him. And so I met him, and I asked if I could get a picture with him, and he said no. And the reason was because he couldn't be there that long, and if he got a picture with me, he'd have to get a picture with everyone, and that would take a very long time. So this makes sense. But what he said was, like, I was like, "Oh, shoot, no one's going to believe me that I met you." And he was like, "Well, you've got the mental picture of it, and doesn't that kind of make it more real?" And I was like, "John Green, you would be deep, even when I meet you. Like, the two-second conversation we have, you would pull, like, a thoughts with places on me." But anyway, I shook his hand, which was nice, and he's really tall. He's taller than I expect. For some reason, I always expect people on the internet to be the same height as me. That's silly. John Green is not going to be 5'5". He is not a woman, to the best of my knowledge. But whenever I meet people, they're always taller, and I'm just like, huh. And he's also quite thin. The whole John Green is fat joke doesn't really apply anymore. And he's also really awkward, which is great, because I feel like brothers that consider themselves nerds probably should be awkward in real life. And he ended up signing my pillowcase. We all had pillowcases, and we all signed each other's pillowcases, which was kind of awesome. So now I have a pillowcase that's signed, and I don't really know what to do with it, but, you know, I'll figure something out. But basically, Beckoning of Lovely was it was a lovely. Lovely was beckoned. And now I have a meeting with my production manager for next quarter because I'm going to be assistant production manager on a show, and I really don't know what that involves, so I'm going to find that out today. But I love you. I do not agree with you on Hank Green's facial hair. I don't like it, but I generally am not a huge fan of facial hair. But he can keep it for November. That's fine with me. And, congrats on the college. You should come to Chicago. And goodbye.